do not procrastinate. If you have something that you want to do, you never know who's watching. You never know who needs the idea that you're trying to create. You never know who needs that business that you're trying to start. So do not procrastinate. Go ahead, start that business. Take that class.
Thank you everyone for joining us on another episode of Iwing Marketplace Chit Chat, where we give the opportunity for entrepreneurs to talk about themselves. Thanks, Noela, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This is amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It's a pleasure. You're a student,
Yes.
and you have a business.
Yes.
This is fabulous. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. So hello, everyone. I am Noela. My middle name is Manka, and that's why you see my business name is Manka's Creations. Basically, I am a third-year medical student in transition, and I am the owner of Manka's Creations. And also, I have another business, but this is not about that business. So we're going to keep it at I am a medical student and I am the owner of Manka's Creations.
Wow. What inspired you to, go into a puff-puff mix business? Why puff-puff mix?
Why puff-puff mix? That's a good one. Because in my family, I am the go-to person for puff-puff. There was actually a Thanksgiving that my aunt called, and we were on video call, like how I'm talking to you right now. And she was trying to mix puff-puff, and I couldn't explain to her. I was trying my best, but it still did not turn out right. And I've had events where people come to the house and they're like, can you mix puff-puff for me? Or I go to someone's event and they're like, oh, you're here? Can you mix puff-puff for me? And I'm all dressed up. I'm like, why? So that was the inspiration. That was when it was like, okay, if you guys are going to keep making me mix your puff-puff, I might as well turn it into a business. I might as well do it because I love it and because you guys love it.
Wow, that's amazing. And
Thank you.
I hope you do have the one package to show us a sample.
I do.
Like how
I
it
actually do.
Perfect,
This is what the
perfect.
size small looks like.
Wow, that's so
It
nice.
tells you all what you need is water. On the back, you have directions. I'm not sure if you guys can see that clearly. And then it also
We can
tells you
see.
the nutritional facts.
Mm-hmm.
There's a QR code. When you scan this code, it takes you to a YouTube video with directions as to how to mix a puff-puff and fry it. And then it
Wow,
tells you storage temperature. And it also tells you how long you can keep the puff-puff mix for down at the bottom. This is
that's
the
really
size
nice.
small. I
Right.
have two sizes,
Mhm.
and that's the large.
Wow, wow. I love the packaging. What inspired you to come out with
Thank you.
this
So this
packaging?
packaging, this picture, that's me when I was like 3 years old. And I learned how to make puff-puff from my mom, and she got the recipe from her mom. This picture I took with my grandma. So this is like a picture. The reason why I chose to use this picture on this packaging is because it shows where I'm coming from and where I'm going to. That's how I came up with this part of the packaging. For the back, this directions, I know my customers, they need directions. You cannot have puff-puff, or you cannot be producing a product and not tell people how to use the product. Nutritional value.
Mhm.
Africans are getting into knowing what they're eating. They're trying to know what they're putting in. Everyone is trying to watch their calories. So I had to come up with that. I noticed that a lot of my competition did not have their nutritional values or the nutritional facts on the back of their packaging. So I had to make sure that that was there. Temperature was something that was important, and then telling them not to put water, because I realized from errors with my previous customers that sometimes people will mistakenly have water drop into the pack and that will mess up their mix. So I had to put that on there so they know that, okay, do not let water touch your puff-puff mix. If it touches it, you have to use all of it at once. And the QR
So how
code
many
is for like,
flavors?
oh, sorry.
How many flavors do you have?
Right now I have 3 flavors. This is the plain one. I have nutmeg and I have cinnamon.
Wow.
This is the one that we're all used to in Cameroon. No artificial, no, not artificial, no extra flavors to it, just regular puff-puff.
Wow. I love the packaging, and I really
Thank
love
you.
the fact that you have all the necessary information at the back of it. But let's talk a little about your entrepreneurial journey. When did you cut this bug, of creating businesses?
So I started my first business in 2018. That's my clothing business. That was like right before I started medical school. And before that, I had zero business ideas, zero business background. And so it was a learning journey. And even starting this one right now, it still is a learning process for me. There are a lot of things that I'm learning as you go. And it's going. That's all I can say. It's going. It's tough, but it's going.
So how are you managing your business and studies? Because I know medical school is very hectic. You have
It is.
so many exams, tests you have to take.
So the best way or the best advice I'll give anyone who's a medical student or just a student in general and wants to start a business is organization is key. You need to set aside time for your business versus time for studies. If you don't set aside time for your business and time for your studies, those two things will overlap. And when they overlap, you will find yourself failing at both. And you want to excel in both things. The only way you can do it is what I do is I know I have school in the morning, that is school time. In the evening, that's business time. Most of my customers, if they notice, they get like notifications for their orders being shipped in the evenings because that is the time that I have set aside for business. That's the time I've set aside to go mix the puff puff and do everything related to business. And
That's
then at night, I know it's time to sleep. Sleep is very important. Please do not forgo your sleep because you're trying to be an entrepreneur. Do not. Sleep is important. Had to throw in
wow.
some medical gibberish in there.
So what have you learned so far from starting a business that you can share with us?
So what I have learned is that even if they tell you no, it's okay. Do not procrastinate. That's another one because this puff puff mix idea, I've had it for like a long time. I'd had it for years, even before I started my clothing line. But I kept procrastinating. I kept being like, what if they won't like it? What if I don't come up with the right measurements? What if, what if, what if? But eventually I did it and people love it. So do not procrastinate. If you have something that you want to do, you never know who's watching. You never know who needs the idea that you're trying to create. You never know who needs that business that you're trying to start. So do not procrastinate. Go ahead, start that business. Take that class.
That's a very good piece of advice. And, we're talking about advice right now. What is the best piece of advice you've ever gotten from someone?
So my sister kept pushing me, which is the do not procrastinate I advice. Like every single time she'd come and be like, oh, you didn't mix me for fourth because I went to medical school. My first 2 years were in Grenada. And every time I was going to Grenada, she'll be like, yeah, you haven't still done that for fourth mix. When you go, who's going to mix for fourth for us? And every single semester when I'm leaving for the island, she's like, where's my for fourth mix? You haven't mixed for fourth for us. So it was like her way of pushing me to stop procrastinating and start my puff puff business. So do not procrastinate, anyone.
That's amazing. And on the flip side, what is the worst advice you've ever gotten?
The worst advice I ever got was your product is not good enough for my store. And that actually pushed me to do better. So when I first started my puff puff mix, I went to one of the African stores in my area and I went to talk to the owner of the store. And I did not know this man before. He's actually Nigerian. I could tell from his accent. And I walk in there and I say, hello. I introduce myself. I had a pack of puff puff mix, my old packaging, which is worse than this one. It's very bad. I walk in and I show him like, this is my product. This is a sample. I like to put it in your store, even if it's just for a trial period. Da, da, da. And this man gave me the insult of my life. That was the very first store I went to. And
Wow.
if I had given up after just walking into that store and hearing him say that, I would not be where I am today. Where I am today is I am currently in 3 stores. One of them is still a trial period, but it's something. And I'm working on getting into more stores.
Wow, that's amazing. I really like the fact that you decided to use the advice the person gave you in order to improve yourself. Because a lot of times, so many people who quit when they get a negative feedback and you did
Failure
not.
is never the end. There's this quote that is circulating online about the person that invented the light bulb that he failed 1,000 times. If you fail one time and you stop, then you're not going to get anywhere. If you fail one time and you stop, that's it. You don't know. You're supposed to fail and learn. You will fail many times, but you will get up from that failure. When I first started my puff puff mix, I getting the right recipe took me forever because the way I used to do it was I would just pour, 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 pour. But when you're doing something for a market, you have to have measurements. So I had to start figuring out how do I measure. And the first cup, I threw out a lot of batches, a lot. There are times when I've thrown out a 25-pound bag of flour. That was a lot of money going in the drain, but it pushed me to keep going. It pushed me to get the right recipe.
Wow. So you never give up.
No, I never give up.
That's amazing. So before we go, can you please give one piece of advice to all the young entrepreneurs out there watching who would like to start up their own business?
1, do not give up. 2, don't stop learning. You learn something new every day. Yesterday, I just learned about Google My Business. And I was like, what? Where have I been sleeping all of this while? So do not stop learning. Even if you're making millions, still try to learn something new. I'm not making millions yet, so people do not think I'm a millionaire. But do not stop learning. You always learn something new. Change your mindset to an evolution type mindset. The more you grow, the more you evolve. And as you're evolving, that's how you'll be getting bigger and bigger things. So do not stop learning. Aspire to learn something new every single day.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And I realized when I spoke to you about Iwing Marketplace, you immediately loved the idea. Can you please tell us what pushed you, to embrace the idea?
Marketing is very, very important in business, which is one of the things I learned the hard way when I first started. And with Iwing's Marketplace, it's like the cheapest marketing platform. But it is a good platform because I found my accountant on your marketplace.
Oh,
It is a place
nice.
for you to meet a lot of people. And now I'm in the process of looking for a lawyer. You never know. I might find a lawyer on your marketplace. I love the idea because it's a one-stop for everything. It's not just a place where you go and find food or you go and find clothes. You find everything. All types of businesses are in there. So that's why I love it. And it's very affordable.
Oh, wow. Thanks for the feedback. We appreciate, there's so many questions I want to ask you, but we usually just keep it like 15 minutes. But what
Okay.
is one thing that you want people to know about Manka's creation, about the pop mix?
So the puff mix is very delicious. I've never had any negative review, which is amazing. I have sold on my Etsy store because I started off on Etsy before moving to a personal website. I have had 93 orders, and none of those people have given me a negative review. So you can imagine how good it is. And also, I have more products coming in very soon. The puff mix is just the beginning. It was just the original idea, but I have meat pie mix coming. I have donut mix coming. And I also will have a Scotch egg mix coming soon. I don't know when yet because time is of the essence to me, given that I have so much going on. I'm studying for my board exam. I'm doing all of this. So I don't really have time right now to do the recipes because, like I said, you will fail a million times trying to come up with the right recipe before you eventually come up with the actual mix. So I need time to create them, but they will come. Before the end of this year, I should have at least one more recipe on the website or one more mix on the website.
Wow, thank you so much, Manka Creation, for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you for sharing your journey. Thanks for giving so many tips. We really do appreciate and keep doing what you're doing. You're really doing a great job and, we appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone, for joining in and listening to my story. I hope I inspired you in one way or another. If you have any questions, please feel free to DM me on Manka's Creations. I'm not that big yet, so I am the only person that checks all of the DMs. So I will be happy to answer all of your questions about puff puff mix or medicine, whatever it is. Please, if it's medicine, as long as you're not coming to consult, I cannot do consultations. But if you just have like a general question about medicine, I should be able to answer.
Or how to get into the medical school and,
Yes, that.
different stuff like that. Thank you
Yep.
so much, everyone. Thank you, Ida Azefo. the financial coach, who is doing a fabulous job out there. Thank you, Noel Chair. Thank you, Tina. We appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching, and we are out.